Hello, Anicod here. Now with the amount of new players coming to Rust, I think it's only fair that we make a how to start out guide so you can suck a little bit less. In this video I'll show you where to set up, how to gather basic resources, how to build your first base, and then even a little bit on what to put inside your starter base and how to set it out so you can make the most of that limited space you've got. Now if you are a pro player, there's not going to be much point in watching this video. This is for the beginners and intermediate players. So I don't want to hear anything in the comments like, I've got 25,000 hours and why am I watching? You might not sound like that, but that's how I read the comments when I see them. So let's get straight to the video. Now the first thing you need to do is pick a server. If you are brand new to Rust, I would strongly suggest picking a slightly lower population server. You can see the population of each server here. And as you get a little bit better and a little bit more experience, you can go to the more highly pop servers, which are a hell of a lot more violent, but in my opinion, they're more fun. You'll see the word vanilla a lot. That just means the server is unmodded and it's pretty much the way that the game is supposed to be played. You can get modded servers as well, which have got various different mods, like you might get more resources per hit, or you might start with a starter kit or whatever. It's up to you. So let's say you've picked your server, you've spawned in, you wake up on a beach somewhere. What do you do now? Now when you wake up, you have got two basic tools. We'll worry about these slightly later on, but the first thing you need is a plan of action. You need to look for somewhere to settle down and set up. So if you hit G on your keyboard, you will see a map come up. You can drag the map around and see exactly where you are, and then try and find an area that's good to set up around where you are. So if you look for the white areas, these places are snow. Really not a good place to set up, especially if you're new to Rust and starting out. It's very cold, it will kill you, they're slightly barren. It's exactly the same as the yellow places. These are the desert biomes. Not much food out here. No water, as you can imagine, and very hard to set up. Try and stick to the green areas, which is the grassland. Now, some places to look out for. You do need to be relatively close to a road because this is where you're going to gather most of your resources. It doesn't hurt to be too far away from the dome or supermarkets or other monuments. You can get slightly higher tier things from here, but you do get a lot of players setting up near these. So the competition is slightly higher for the sweet goods. You can see the cliffs and the mountains on the map by looking at these things here. You can use these for cover for when you're building your base, so it's not silhouetted against the skylight, so people can see your base from miles around. All you really want to be doing is looking for an area that's easy accessible to all places. And once you've found that place, you can start concentrating on gathering the materials to build a base and start getting your foothold down, ready to settle down. So you know exactly where you're going to set up, so what now? Well, you need to start gathering resources. For this you can use your rock, or you can even find some resources laying around on the floor. Simply get the rock in your hands, run up to a tree, smash the tree with your rock, and boom, you've got wood. Easy as that. Now what you're prioritising making all depends on the server, how busy it is, you as a player. If it is slightly busy, then you do want to concentrate on making a bow to start with. This will give you protection, so you don't get any sweaty lettuces trying to rob you of your resources. If it is a really quiet server, don't worry too much on the bow, just get plenty of wood, so you can start getting a foundation down. Once you've collected a load of wood, if you hit Q, it'll bring up your crafting, and what you want to craft is a blueprint and a hammer. The blueprint is what you're going to need to put foundations down, and the hammer is what you're going to need to reinforce it. So once you've crafted the blueprint, hold it in your hands. If you keep your finger on the right clicker on your mouse, you can choose what twig structure you want to build. Always start with a foundation. I would strongly recommend starting with just a 2x1, which is the most common starter base. Really cheap and quite secure as well. Simply pick the foundation, look down and it'll light up blue when you can place it. Left click to place the foundation. The other foundations will simply snap onto this then. Then if you hold your right clicker and select wall, you can put the walls around. Don't forget to pick a doorway because you do need to get in and out of your base. And if you choose the floor, that acts as a roof as well. So obviously You can use the triangles for the triangle foundation bits and the square floors for the roofs of the squares. Once you've done this, you can get your hammer out. If you look at a foundation so it highlights, keep your finger on your right clicker and it'll show you what you can reinforce it as. To start with, concentrate on reinforcing your base in wood. You can concentrate on upgrading it to stone a little bit later on once you've got a foothold. While you're doing this, hit the Q. You do want to be crafting a couple of doors and a couple of locks. This will keep people out of your base and give you a little bit more security. Once you've reinforced, put the doors in your hotbar, look at a doorway and again it'll light up blue. If you scan left or right, you can put the doors on different ways. The idea is, especially with your base like this with your triangle foundation, is get the doors so they open into the triangle. That way, if you accidentally leave a door open, people still can't get in your base. So you've chosen a server, woke up, chosen somewhere to set up, gathered the resources, built a base. Well, what do you put in your base? Well, this is where the fun begins. The first thing you need is a tool cupboard. Now the main idea behind a tool cupboard is you can place this down, authorise yourself on it and no one else can build in or around that area. You can also use it to store resources so your base doesn't decay. If you build a base out of wood, then you're going to need to put wood in the tool cupboard. If you build it out of stone, then you're going to have to put stone in the tool cupboard. I think you get the idea. Once you put the resources in, it'll give you a timer and that's how long your base lasts before it starts decaying. You're not just limited to stone or metal or wood in these things. You can put fuels, you can put cloth, various other things as well. Once you're authorised on it, it is possible to put a lock on it. I would recommend that. That means for someone to take over your base, they will need to destroy the tool cupboard, and these are reasonably strong as well, especially in early game when you've only got primitive tools. You can build a little storage box just to plonk next to it. This is where you can keep your weapons or some other little basic bits and bobs. Another key thing is a sleeping bag. Now when you die in Rust, a sleeping bag will provide a bit of a safe haven and you'll be able to respawn back onto that area. If you didn't have a sleeping bag, you'd just be spawning randomly, and 9 times out of 10 it always puts you at the other end of the map. So make sure you've got a sleeping bag down. You're also going to need a furnace. These things are absolute key. You do want to start putting metal ore in here so you can get metal frag. These crappy wooden doors really are rubbish, so you can use the metal frag to build sheet metal doors. These are much stronger. You will be using furnaces throughout the wipe, so it is an advantage to have more than one if you want one. You only need one to start with, but if you do come across more or you want to make more, there's no harm in doing that. The next thing you need is a fire. Now some of the food you come across does need to be cooked, like when you kill an animal, or if you just want basic lighting, or even if you just want somewhere really unorthodox to store some goods, you can store them in a fire. They do come in handy more than you might think. Dirt cheap, they keep you warm at night, they give you comfort, they heal you. Definitely worth getting a fire down. Once you've got the basic necessities, you can start concentrating on progressing and thriving. One of the things you need to do this is a research table. If you find an item that you like and that you want to gonna make in future, you can plonk it inside the research table, and for a small cost of scrap you can learn the blueprint to create that item. Research tables are worth the weight in gold, especially in early game, and they are dirt cheap as well. The final thing you're going to need is a workbench. Now you get level 1, 2 and 3 workbenches, level 1 being the lowest tier and level 3 being the highest tier. You do need a level 1 to be able to create a level 2 and a level 2 to create a level 3, etc. You can't just go straight to level 3. So again, these are really cheap, they don't cost much. If you're not finding the items that you want, you can plonk some scrap in there, hit roll, and it'll give you a random roll on an item which you can then craft. And that's pretty much it. Now this has just been a fast-paced taster on what you need to do to get a foothold really fast. As you start playing the game more and more, you do start getting more experience, and you will find your own way to get set up and thrive. Really hope you've enjoyed the video. I've got some real bangers in the pipeline, so if you do want to see those, feel free to hit the subscribe button. If you leave a like on this video, you'll let me know I'm doing a good job. And if you want to see what I'm up to, feel free to follow me on the usual social media platforms. Really hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.